Hello, my name is Alberto, and one of the things I am most passionate about is cars. Now, this passion goes back truly as far back as I can remember. Growing up in Cuba in the mid 80s and mid 90s, I grew up surrounded by all these amazing vintage Chevrolets, Buicks, Cadillacs, Fords, all pre 1960s models. And I would always see all these guys working on their cars, just spending hours creating components, trying to fix up however they could the parts for their cars because it was the opposite of a throwaway culture. You could not go and just buy components and replace the old ones. You could not just get rid of your car. You had to basically make it work. Um, and I remember seeing this one gentleman. He actually converted his car to work on kerosene because diesel was expensive and kerosene was given by the government. So he actually tweaked his engine to have his car run on kerosene. So it was truly just you could see the passion and just the engineering spirit in these guys just to try to keep their cars going and lasting and just protect them as much as possible. Now, in the mid 90s, my parents and I immigrated to the US, and of all places, we moved to Miami. Now, talk about the floodgates being completely burst open. I was suddenly seeing and learning about all these cars that I had no idea existed: Italian supercars, German engineering, British luxury, and American muscle, just to name a few. It was truly like taking a small fish from a fish tank and dropping it in the middle of the ocean. There was just so many things, so much variety. It was truly amazing to just learn about all these cars. And of course, like most kids, I dreamt about the big supercars like Ferrari and Lamborghini and Maserati and Porsches. But there was one car that always and truly stood out in my mind, and it was part of the American dream, the Chevy Corvette. I love seeing them driving around in Miami. Read about the history of the car, and growing up, I would actually spend hours building these model cars, these plastic, about 6, 8 inches long plastic cars, where I would file down the components, I would paint them, I would carefully glue them, and then display them proudly on my bookshelf. And I remember one of these sets actually came with a poster, and it said Corvette Evolution, and it had all five Corvettes that had existed at that time. Now, at this moment, we're up to the eighth generation, so basically almost twice as many Corvettes as back in the days when I was building these. Now, fast forward to more recent times, I was finally able to treat myself and get myself my piece of the American pie, my piece of the American dream, basically. I got myself a Corvette in December of 2017. And now living in a small island, unfortunately, it took about 3 weeks to ship the car from another island, which was just 80 miles away. But here I am. I had waited 30 years basically to get my dream car. And those last 3 weeks waiting for that car to arrive were just completely brutal. Now, when I finally received the car, I was truly in disbelief. I drove it around for at least an hour or two, just driving aimlessly through the island. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, just wanted to get a feel for the car and just couldn't believe that it was mine. Um, when I got home, I parked it in my little parking stall, walked around, took pictures of it, came back inside the house, was looking at it through the window, went back outside again, took more pictures, walked around the car, sat inside. I think I even went for another drive for about half an hour again, and finally came home, parked it, went back inside, and went to sleep. Now, the next morning is where things get interesting. I had had the car for less than 24 hours, and as you get probably can guess, I went back outside, took pictures of the car again, sat inside, and then went back inside the house because I had to get ready for work. Now, while I was getting ready for work, all of a sudden I get this alert on my phone, kind of like when you get those alerts, those emergency alerts like flood warnings or tornado warnings. Well, this was one that I had never expected, and I don't think anybody ever saw coming. And it was scary and confusing at the same time. The message read, "Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek shelter. This is not a drill." You maybe heard about this in the news. I remember seeing it afterwards in CNN and such. Now here I am in a weird situation. My girlfriend and I were getting our pets in the smallest bathroom we had, which had no windows, and that's where they say you should go into a place with no windows. Um, we were putting water and other necessities in there, and just basically that was going to be our little bomb shelter if it could hold anything. And I remember thinking, how long does it take for a missile to hit Hawaii from Korea, which is where everybody thought the missile was coming from? You know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Do I have time to go for a quick drive in my Corvette, which again, I've had for less than 24 hours. So it's kind of sad admitting this now and thinking that that's where my mind was back then. But that's just how excited I was and how much I love cars. And fortunately, it did turn out to be a false alarm. There was no missile, and I still have my dream Corvette, which I drive daily. That relationship is still going strong. Now, my passion for cars continues, and I feel like it's stronger now than ever before. I've been fortunate to attend a few amazing car shows, including the Motorsports Gathering at the Quail and the Concours d'Elegance at Pebble Beach. And whenever I have a chance, I attend car shows and car gatherings. And one of my favorite things to do too is whenever I travel somewhere on vacation, is just try to upgrade to a nicer car, whether it's a BMW or an exotic like a Maserati or even a Range Rover or um, anything of that sort. Just to drive something new and just get a feel for some of the other cars out there. So that's my story. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for your time.